from the campus of Westfield State University. This is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Support for community radio on WSKB provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6 o'clock. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm joined this morning, first hour, with producer Pete Coles, who's a little under the weather today. Any voice back there, Pete?
A little.
A little bit of a voice, just not feeling so well. This is something,
I wasn't feeling well yesterday, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
As with the doctors, they're all swamped right now. So
they are. It's hard to get an appointment.
Yeah, so I might have to do urgent care to this afternoon.
Okay, you know what? And that's why we have urgent care. So, So if you're under the weather, here's a big shout out to you because I know there's a lot going around. I'm trying to stay as healthy as I can, and you'll notice that I have my hat on today. Today's National Hat Day, January 15th.
Yep.
National Hat Day. We're going to be celebrating at the Senior Center this morning. So we have invited all of our lunch participants to wear a hat to lunch for National Hat Day. It's also National Strawberry Ice Cream Day. So you better believe that we're going to be eating plenty of strawberry ice cream for dessert today.
See, I was looking forward to that too.
I know you had said you wanted to come, but please keep your germs out of my great room.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's like the last place that we need to be spreading germs around. But anyway, but we're excited. We've got that's just kind of something fun for us to do in the middle of January when we're all we're getting past the holiday blues, and although I have to say at least the weather's been decent enough for us to get out there. And of course this weekend we had an unbelievably decent stretch of weather. Almost, some people were almost complaining that it just seemed so weird to be in the high 60s in the middle of January.
Yep.
And I get that, especially if you like, winter sports. This is, skiing and snowshoeing and so forth. We haven't had too many opportunities, although I think you said last week, Pete, that the ski places are doing okay, right?
They're
making
open
snow.
They've been making snow a lot.
Yeah. So it is 37 degrees this morning, going into the mid-40s, partly sunny. We'll have sort of the same type day tomorrow. And then I understand the temperature is supposed to drop and it's supposed to get a little colder after that.
Colder,
so, yeah. But so far, so good. It's a little misty out there this morning, but I think it's going to clear, so I think we'll be okay. So just to give folks a little preview of what's to come, the second hour, I've invited the Council on Aging Program Director, Mary Lou Najalski, to join me second hour. I like to put Mary Lou on usually at the beginning of the year, usually in January or early February, after she and I have worked on our special events calendar. So We'll give you a preview of what's coming up at the Senior Center for the next 12 months. Lots of good things going on. And of course, when we do our special calendar, that doesn't mean we don't add things along the way. We usually add lots of things along the way, but that at least gets us some of our basics. So before we get started, I want to give a huge shout out to Patrick Barry, because by now I think I can finally announce it.
His first day was yesterday.
The big reveal was yesterday. So Patrick is the new co-host of Mass Appeal, which is WWLP Channel 22. It's on from 11 to 12 every day.
And then it's also
Monday
on again
Friday.
at 1 o'clock on the
I think it's 12
CW.
to 1 on CW.
CW, yeah,
yes,
they repeat it.
They repeat it the second. I think he told me 11 to 12 on WWLP, and then I think it's 12 to 1 on WCP. So CW. Sorry, CW. So I heard from one of my seniors who had seen the show that he did a wonderful job yesterday. I know he had taped a few segments, and I'm not sure where those are all going to get plugged in. But they introduced him yesterday. So
I watched him yesterday. He did a good job.
Well, last night
the funniest part. Did you see? You don't have Facebook, so
no. But what I went on, I went online to just watch. They have a video of his introduction. So the first 5 minutes or so when they bring him out and he's walking down the hallway and just telling a little bit about himself.
That's the part that I missed.
Oh, so that's the part that I saw. So what part did you see?
I saw with my old friend Priscilla Ress that I used to work with at Channel 40.
Oh, okay.
Priscilla works for Eversource now.
Oh, so he did. Okay.
They did a segment
see, I didn't see any of the segments.
Winter heating and stuff like that and things like that. So they did it. And the funny thing was, is she commented on my post saying he's a pro, and I said yes. We've graduated our first community radio host to the pros.
I know, and Pete, I think that you and I should be taking a lot of credit for that, because I just want to go on record as saying that the first before Patrick started, when he was asked to do WSKB. He called me and said, okay, we have to talk about this. You have to, talk to me. Here are my ideas. What do you think? I think I'm going to do my show this way, but you've been doing this now for a few months, because former Mayor Knappich and I had been doing the show for a little while at that point. So I like to think that, Pete, you and I schooled him, and he graduated from WSKB and then moved on to...
Well, he said he would never even thought about considering applying for a job like that had he not done the show.
Well, and you know what? I said to him when he did apply for it, because I knew he had done that, and I said, you have just spent 4 years interviewing people every single week. And so,
he did say it's a different animal, though.
It is. It's
when you have a couple minutes to get
very
in
different.
a complete interview instead of an hour or 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, and when you think about it, Patrick typically had one guest a week, so it was a 2-hour slot, which is even with music breaks and all that, that's still a tremendous amount of time.
But he became a very good interviewer.
He did. He became
very
a great.
Good.
I thought he was. I loved his show, and I still miss him. And I mean, anybody who could interview a lot of the city department heads and make them interesting. I mean, they were just really interesting interviews. And even Patrick said when he started that, it's like, I don't know. And the department heads were kind of like, does somebody really want to listen to me talk about my job for 2 hours? But
and then the wide-ranging guests that he had, too.
In addition to that, he had all kinds of, everything from the maestro to...
Brian Farr from Historic Route 20.
Yeah, yes.
We're actually going to revisit that one. Bobby Goff I got him interested in that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. That was a good topic.
And then at the event last night, I was hooking Harry Rock up with guests too.
Oh, there you go.
I didn't see you around. I saw you check in really quickly, but I didn't see you around. I would have hooked you up with somebody. I had a couple ideas.
I have to be very careful at political functions. I was not at the political function. I was having dinner in the dining room.
Well, they announced you, so.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. But I was having dinner in the dining room, so
actually,
I was
on the state
not
level. It's different, I think, than the local level.
Well, I just have to be really careful. But Grace and I, my daughter Grace, who moved back home and is settling in now, and I had dinner. It was girls' night out because because Gary was away, and so it was girls' night out, and but it was really a lot of fun because we got there early. We were there.
I did see you come in.
Well, Grace got there before I did. I was kind of helping a coworker who was a little under the weather. So I got there a little bit later. So she was saving me a seat. So that's why I kind of ran in, because she said, Mom, it's getting crowded and I'm saving you a seat. So hurry up and get it. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be taking up Anyway, there was some nice gentleman who was kind of holding the seat for me that Grace befriended. And here's what was so funny, Pete. So I get in there, and who's on the other side? Grace said, I'm at the bar because there were no tables or anything. Sure. And she said, and who was sitting on the other side of her but Kate Phelan from the chamber. And Grace didn't know who that was. And Kate... they kind of started talking a little bit.
Yep.
And the guy that was holding the seat for me that Grace befriended when she went there had asked Grace, oh, is this your mom, on the other side to Kate? And they said, no. Grace said, nope, this is, just some woman that I just met. So I sit down and I look over and I said, oh my gosh, Kate. She goes, what? So, then there was this big thing. This is your daughter? I've been sitting here talking to her. I didn't realize it. So It was a lot of fun. And there was a lot of that going on last night. There were people all over the place that you knew. And
I talked to Nabil and he says, this is like a Friday night for us.
It was so fun. It was so
like
fun.
A Friday night. The place was packed.
It was.
That room, I've never seen it that full.
I never even went back.
To the point that it almost had to spill out into the batting cages.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't surprise me at all. And one of the reasons I wanted to get there early was parking. So Grace went over with Mary Lou because I said to her, the fewer cars that we have, the better.
Right.
So
you can bring her home from there.
Yeah. Well, she came to the senior center because I said, we'll take my car and then I'll bring you back. And, and so that we only have one car. And then had a coworker who was not feeling well and I wanted to stay with her till she got situated.
I understand that concept.
Yeah. And her son could pick her up. So Grace went over with Mary Lou just so there weren't extra cars. But I got there about 5:30. The event started at 6. But even at 5:30, it was crowded. And by the time I left, Grace and I left, it was crowded, no parking.
Well,
so.
that's the helpful part of being, donating your services to the campaign.
Exactly, yeah.
That, you got to load in your gear. So I was parked on the other side of the building.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That was smart.
Yes.
So, that was it. For those who don't know, John Vilas had his, I guess it's his official kickoff campaign for state senator. He's already
been endorsed by some people before he had that. So
yeah, exactly. So that was over at the shortstop last night.
Yes.
And and I just want to go on record as saying I did not go back into the political campaign piece of that at all. But I was in the restaurant enjoying a really nice meal. So that was it. So I guess it was a home run. There were a lot of people there.
There was a ton of people there. Yeah, it was great speeches by both the sheriff and by John.
Yeah, I knew he had some big wigs lined up. I wasn't sure who was there.
Yeah, Bo's kind of the MC.
Okay.
Sheriff Kochi introduced John.
Okay.
And then John did a great speech.
Good. Excellent. Well, we wish him well, and of course he's one of Westfield's own. So of course we're all going to be a little partial because it would be kind of nice to replace a state senator from Westfield with another state senator from Westfield.
Yep,
but
absolutely.
We'll see how it goes. Okay, so today, before we do our first break, it is the actual birthday of the late Martin Luther King Jr. Sometimes we forget that because we celebrate it on that Monday, like whatever it is, the third Monday of the month. But his birthday is actually today. January 15th, he was born 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. He died April 4th, 1968 at the young age of 39. Martin Luther King Jr. was a Baptist minister and civil rights activist who had a seismic impact on race relations in the United States beginning in the mid-1950s. Among his many efforts, King headed the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the SCLC. Through his activism and inspirational speeches, he played a pivotal role in ending the legal segregation of African American citizens in the United States, as well as the creation of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Martin Luther King won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964, among several other honors. He continues to be remembered as one of the most influential and inspirational African American leaders in history. Today, we remember the life and legacy of the late civil rights leader. Over the years, the global musical sphere has become filled with songs inspired by or dedicated to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So I thought, we all know about Martin Luther King, so I thought I would do something a little different. So this twist is these are some of the Billboard staff favorites in terms of songs that were either written about Martin Luther King or dedicated to him. I'm not familiar with all of these songs, The number one was "Pride in the Name of Love" by U2. That was in 1984. I don't know if any of these will ring a bell for you, Pete. You're more of a music guy. The second one was "By the Time I Get to Arizona" by Public Enemy. That was done in 1991.
That might be my brother. My brother's a fan of Public Enemy. They're a rap group.
Okay. This one, easy. "We Shall Overcome," the Bruce Springsteen version. That was done in 2006. "One Vision" by Queen, which was done in 1985.
Yep.
"Like a King" by Ben Harper. That was done in 1994.
That one I don't know.
And this one, as much of a Stevie Wonder fan as I am, I had not heard this song. It's called "Happy Birthday." It's actually the one that we're going to play in just a couple minutes at our break. I haven't, Stevie. But let me give a little background.
Sure.
And I promise that
you're playing the role of Michael Buster McMahon.
Yeah. Yes. And also, I promise this will be much shorter than Bob Plass's explanation of that opera that he played yesterday.
Oh my God!
I almost texted you to say, please make him stop. I mean, just went on and on and on.
Finally, I played the opera, started playing it. Did you hear that? And
as JPEG Lucas said, it's like, and this is the abbreviated version. But anyway, Here is the abbreviated version of "Happy Birthday" by Stevie Wonder. It was written he sang it in 1981. So Stevie Wonder's "Happy Birthday" track was written in 1981 by the pianist, social activist, as part of the campaign to have the birthday of Martin Luther King Jr. become a national holiday. The song's lyrics, above keyboard synthesizers, find Wonder questioning why anyone would oppose commemorating King's legacy by setting aside a day for him. And these are part of the lyrics of the song.
Sure,
You'll hear this. "I just never understood how a man who died for good could not have a day that would be set aside for his recognition," he sings. So I thought, in honor of Martin Luther King's birthday, which, again, his actual birthday is today, is January 15th. We'll be celebrating on Monday when we all get a day off. But I'd like to play "Happy Birthday" by Stevie Wonder.
Someone who stands for good could not have a day that would. He said, aside for the recognition, cause it should never be. Just because some cannot see, the dream is plenty, that they should make it become an illusion. We honor everything that this first time will bring. In our heart we sing the Mandela and Martin Luther King. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. We know that there should be a holiday where peace is celebrated. people like me and you who know the way to prove His love and intimacy for all of God's children. In great events, and the hope they should be spent in the wings of those who live with the wonderful people. So let us all begin. You know that love can win, that there are no holiness. We lost never yourself. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Yeah. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Everybody say,
Underwriting for WSKB's community radio programming is brought to you in part by R. Levesque Associates. They are offering landscape architecture, civil engineering, environmental permitting, and land surveying. RLA is a second-generation company devoted to excellence in the planning and design of outdoor spaces. On the web at rlaland.com or at 40 School Street in Westfield.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:20. You're listening.
Wow, I did it.
I know.
That's great. I love that. That's
I know.
the best.
Well, you know, it was so funny because when you played that, I forgot there was a pause there, and I thought, oh, Pete took out the best part. It's the I did it part, but you didn't.
No, I had to have my British guy do his thing, you know.
Just a little pause in the middle there. So
I'm glad he didn't talk over that like Bob normally does. Bob normally talks over everything.
You think?
And I was like, he didn't talk over it. And then I was like, and then it's like the perfect timing. And I'm like, I'm just going to leave it the way it is.
Oh, yeah. So perfect.
It's like, I could edit that out easily, but I'm not going to.
No, we love Bob.
I know.
You have to take
Bob
Bob
was
for
hilarious yesterday. Oh my lord.
He was on a roll. I'm trying to remember he had Dr. Kevin Coughlin on. Kevin is a personal friend of Gary and mine, and I love to listen to him. And I'm trying to remember.
He derailed Kevin pretty.
What was the topic though? Pete?
I have no idea.
I can't remember though. It was
because I had stuff going on here.
Always fascinated. All right, give me a few minutes, and in the middle of mine, I'll blurt out whatever Kevin was talking about yesterday because I remember thinking. That was really a lot of times. I think Kevin probably comes in with a topic in mind, and then Bob gets him off on something else. But it usually is very interesting. You know, whatever they get onto, and I can't. Oh, I know what it was. It was the antibiotic thing. It was taking antibiotics before you have dental work, or before you have hip surgery, or once you have organ replacements. Yep. Why you have to do that. Yeah, and that was really interesting because Dr. Coughlin was saying the mouth is the only part of the body that you can't you can't like disinfect it.
Right.
You're always going to have germs there. So that was real. That's fascinating.
I remember talking about human bites worse than animal bites.
Yes. And that's when you talked about your mom and your potty mouth. Yes. And she said, I listen to these things. I pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's do a couple more birthdays and then a few announcements. We'll just sprinkle things in here. And my musical choice is the first hour, a little bit longer because I wanted to go with some. I loved that Stevie Wonder song, by the way, that Happy Birthday.
I'm surprised you never heard that before.
I had not. I don't think I've ever heard that one, Pete. But
Yeah.
But anyway, great song.
I played it as a birthday song, even though I knew it was a protest song.
For him.
Yeah.
Well, that was great. It's my new, annual Martin Luther King song. All right, it is also the birthday, January 15th. Martin Luther King shares the birthday with Drew Brees, football player. He was born January 15th, 1979 in Austin, Texas. He's 41 years old today. So Drew Brees is an American football player who began his career as a quarterback at Westlake High School. He later enrolled at Purdue University and led the Boilermakers to a Big Ten championship and a Rose Bowl appearance. Drafted by the NFL San Diego Chargers in 2001, Brees earned the first of numerous Pro Bowl selections in 2004 before moving on to New Orleans, the New Orleans Saints in 2006. So he's been with the Saints for a long time. I didn't realize, 14 years. He led the Saints to victory in 2010, winning the Super Bowl, and went on to shatter league records for completions, passing yards, and touchdowns. Now, one thing that I do have to mention about Drew Brees, because there has been a lot of they showed during the playoffs, they've been showing a lot of his statistics and passing yards and so forth. But as my husband Gary pointed out to me, we do have to remember that Drew Brees plays in a dome, so it's very it's easier to make pass completions when you're playing sort of in this climate controlled environment, as opposed to somebody like Aaron Rodgers who's playing up in Green Bay in the snow. So we do have to say that. But the other thing about Drew Brees that I didn't realize until this year is that he's 41 years old. We all talk about Brady and his age and so forth, but
he just quietly does his thing.
Yeah, Drew Brees is no kid, so happy birthday and good job. And I was really disappointed that they didn't do better on last weekend, but that it is what it is. Okay, January 15th is also the birthday of the late Lloyd Bridges. Lloyd Bridges was born in 1913 on this day in San Leandro, California. He died March 10th, 1998 at the age of 85. Tall, blonde, and craggy-faced, Lloyd Bridges played a wide variety of roles in everything from summer stock to Hollywood films to television series. He achieved wide renown as Mike Nelson, the former Navy frogman who was the mainstay of the show Sea Hunt, an underwater adventure series that ran for 156 episodes from 1957 to 1961. Any recollection of that show, Pete? Sea Hunt?
I know the name, but I've never seen it.
I had not. But that was, I was born in 57, so, I would have been
I think I saw
4.
it, somewhere.
Okay. Before Sea Hunt, Mr. Bridges was a familiar face, not just in forgettable formula Hollywood films, but also in memorable television dramas like Rise Up and Walk, which dealt with the ordeal of polio. 2 of his more memorable movies were A Walk in the Sun, which was done in 1945, about a World War II skirmish in Italy, and High Noon, that was done in 1952. Lloyd Bridges displayed a deft comedic touch in the 1980 parody Airplane, in which he played an incompetent plane dispatcher.
Yep.
So, and of course, that's the one that I remember him in.
Pick the bag week to stop smelling glue.
Exactly. He was hysterical in that movie. That movie I thought was just a riot.
By the way, you remember Purdue quarterbacks? You're talking about Brees being.
Yep.
A local guy, one of my coaches in high school, Bill Wise, was a Purdue quarterback.
Really?
And he was the second guy too?
I don't know.
Bob Greasy.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, here's
another. Made the pros.
Here's another little fun fact about Purdue. So when I was in high school, we played this trivia game in my social studies class, and the question was what's the theme for Purdue? They have this weird, kind of, like we're the Patriots, the New England Patriots, and I can't remember what the name is, but what was Purdue? Well, my brother got his PhD at Purdue, so here I am, this female in high school, and I said, oh, it's the Purdue Boilermakers. And I remember my social studies teacher stopping dead in his tracks saying, how on earth did you know that? So I didn't want to tell him. I just said, I know these things.
Probably thought you were a heavy drinker.
I think he had no idea. But anyway, that was kind of fun. And I remember the guys, especially the football players in my class, being really impressed that I knew about the Purdue Boilermakers, because it is kind of an unlikely name.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we'll go back to birthdays in just
a few minutes.
Not that it derailed
the show.
Exactly. So we'll go back to birthdays in a few minutes because we have some more to do. But I do want to mention today is the last day, because it's January 15th, to drop off your Christmas tree. If you have your Christmas tree and it needs to go out, this is, I understand from my senior safety officer, Mark Carbonneau, we've had a lot of issues with Christmas trees this year because people are thinking that it's curbside pickup. And so the police...
They haven't done that in a couple of years
No,
now.
I know. That's what I said to Mark. I said, really? They haven't... I said, I've been announcing the drop-off places for your Christmas tree for at least 2 years now. This is at least the third year in a row that I've done this. So why you think it would be okay to put it out at your curb? The city is not going to come and get it. Mm-hmm. So let me tell you where the sites are that you can drop your tree off, because today is the last day. City Hall. You can drop it off in the back. Hampton Ponds Playground, which is 121 Old Stage Road. Again, 7 days a week, 24/7. You can take it there today. Highway Garage DPW, 12 Ponders Hollow Road. You can take it there today until 2:30 p.m. The Little River Fire Station, which is 366 Little River Road. So if you're on that side, like on the Shaker Road side of Westfield, you can take it there. The Twist Street Transfer Station. You can take it there again until 2:30 today. So any of those places, well, you just have to drop it off. If you don't have a truck, just cut it in half and just throw it in the trunk of your car and get it to one of these places, and they'll chop it up for, they do wood chips for mulch.
They chip it up,
Yeah, they'll chip it up for mulch. So so please do that. Please do not put it at your curb, because nobody's going to come. It ain't
going anywhere.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere, and nobody's coming up to pick up your Christmas tree at your curb, okay?
Right.
Okay, so it is 6:29. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. Again, today's National Hat Day. We'll talk more about National Hat Day when my program director, Mary Lou Najalski, joins us, because, of course, we're going to be celebrating National Hat Day at the Senior Center today. And I'll tell you all about the hat that I chose to wear today, my little sailing cap over here. Mm-hmm. So in honor of the birthday of Drew Brees, we are going to play this piece by George Benson. It's called Breezin', because it's Drew Brees' birthday. And I love this song. It's a little long, but I don't care. I love this George Benson piece. So Breezin' at 6:30.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:34. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and we are broadcasting live from Westfield Technical Academy. And behind the glass, behind the boards, is the chairman of the board, Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
Are you starting to feel like a human, or are you feeling worse the longer you're sitting there? Or just kind of stable? Just kind of in. Pete's a little under the weather today. There's a lot of stuff going around out there. So what we tell everybody at the senior center, wash your hands. And if you are sick, please stay home. I mean,
I know that they had.
Yeah.
My girlfriend works up at Armbrook, and they had a voluntary lockdown because
yes, they did.
Around.
Yes, because I had
several days.
Yeah, yep. I had one of my seniors. Her husband is up there on the Compass unit, and she said, "Yeah, we weren't allowed to visit for a few days. They asked us to just stay."
It turned out
away.
not to be the flu. I guess it was the norovirus or rhinovirus that's going around, but it's still pretty nasty customer.
Yeah, it's just exactly.
Now it's going around the staff. So.
Yeah, you know what? And it's just one of those things. We live in New England, and although I will say this, one of the things that I heard from the seniors that I thought was really great was when we had that an unseasonably warm weekend, people were opening their windows and sort of trying to air out the house, and because that's kind of what everything just gets closed in. So anyway, there's that. Let me do a couple more birthdays. Let's do a couple more birthdays, at least this one, because this is our next break. So it is the birthday of Armando Christian Perez. Do you know who that is, Pete?
I have no idea.
Oh, Pete, I love it. So this is a good trivia question. So it is the birthday of Armando Christian Perez, American rapper. He was born January 15th, 1981 in Miami, Florida. So he's 39 years old today. Known professionally as Pitbull.
Well, there you go.
Or nicknames Mr. 305 and Mr. Worldwide. He's an American rapper, brand ambassador, entrepreneur, actor, and philanthropist. Perez began his career in the early 2000s recording reggaeton, Latin hip hop. Now, Pete, you have to help me on this. I've never heard this category
reggaeton.
Reggaeton. But listen to this. What is crunk music? C-R-U-N-K. Any idea? I've never heard of it.
I know what getting crunk means, but
okay,
probably not suitable for air.
Okay, under a multitude of labels. Pitbull's music has sold over 100 million records worldwide, as well as #1 singles in 15 different countries. Pitbull's other ventures include brand ambassadorship for various entities, activism, and philanthropy in the Latino American community, and a radio station, which is called Pitbull's Globalization on Sirius XM Radio. As of May 2019, Pitbull had won 35 Billboard Latin Music Awards. So happy birthday, happy
Grammys,
39th birthday to Pitbull. And the only reason I would know even who Pitbull is, because not music I would typically listen to, is because we did a lot of Zumba dancing to Pitbull. It seemed like,
he got a lot of
because it's
good
that
stuff.
kind of a music.
He was featured in Men in Black 3.
Okay.
His song was in Men in Black 3.
Okay.
So he's got a whole bunch, and he's got a whole bunch of collaborations with people too.
Yes, he has, which I was surprised at some of that as well. So hey, happy birthday to Pitbull. So for all my older listeners going, what the heck is a Pitbull?
You'll recognize the song.
Yeah, you'll recognize the song. And he actually chose that. He kind of carefully chose that as his nickname, and there was a kind of a story behind that, and it had to do with, sort of the reputation of pit bulls and, their personalities and so forth. So kind of interesting stuff. All right, we'll finish up with two more January 15th famous birthdays. Again, these are probably people that you might not have heard of. It is the birthday of the late Lewis M. Terman, educator, researcher, and you probably are not familiar with the name, but you're going to be familiar when I tell you what he did.
Okay.
So he was born January 15th, 1877 in Johnson County, Indiana. He died December 21st, 1956 at the age of 79. American psychologist who published the Individual Intelligence Test, widely used in the United States, the Stanford-Binet. So he really refined what we use today as the IQ test. When you measure IQ, it's through the Stanford-Binet test. Terman joined the faculty of Stanford University in 1910, where he became professor of education in 1916, the year he published The Measurement of Intelligence, a guide for his Stanford revision and enlargement of the earlier Binet-Simon intelligence test, a scale that was developed in France. So the first intelligence test, popular one, was the Binet-Simon, and that was done in France. So Terman actually kind of refined that, expanded it, and so forth, and came up with the Stanford-Binet test.
Yep.
So scoring on the test was signified by the intelligence quotient, or IQ, intelligence quotient, which takes account of both chronological age and mental age, so that the average child of any age has an IQ of 100. So that's what you base it on. So the average IQ is 100. So if somebody says, well, I have an IQ of 140, or somebody tested on the Stanford-Binet for 140, that's, like genius level. And if somebody tested at, say, 60, that would be considered, cognitively impaired. Mm-hmm. So, and the interesting thing is that he did this back in, the early 1900s, and we're still using that. This is like 100 years later. And this is still the gold standard for intelligence tests, which is pretty amazing.
Until they can actually map your brain, that might be something different.
Yeah. I think that
we're probably not far away from.
I just think that it's for when you put it in that context, these people were so ahead of their time in so many ways, and so smart, so bright. So happy birthday to the late Lewis M. Terman, the refiner of the Stanford-Binet IQ test. And then it is also the birthday of the late Paul A. Dever, who was the 58th governor of Massachusetts. So I'm going to guess, Pete, at Westfield State University, Devers Auditorium. Is that...
Probably,
I'm guessing that's why.
Yeah, probably.
He was born January 15th, 1903 in Boston. He died April 11th, 1958 at the age of 55, so he's kind of young. Paul Dever graduated from Boston University with a legal degree in 1926. He was elected to the Massachusetts House of Representatives in 1928 and served from 1929 to 1935 in a district representing Cambridge that had historically been Republican. In 1934, Dever was elected Attorney General at the young age of 31. Which is very young for that position. He served in World War II, and after the war, Dever lost the 1946 race for lieutenant governor, but 2 years later, he defeated incumbent Governor Robert F. Bradford in a Democratic landslide, which saw that party gain complete control of the state for the first time in the 20th century. He was the state's 58th governor and won election to a second term in 1950. And I think it is. I think there is a connection with Westfield State, and I'll tell you why, Pete. During his tenure, Dever increased state aid to schools and issued an executive order to extend higher education benefits to Korean War veterans. So I think one of his sort of trademarks was education and funding for education. So happy birthday to the late Paul A. Dever, 58th governor of Massachusetts. So those are your, there were actually some more birthdays. There were a lot of people born on January 15th. You have to go back and think of what was going on, 9 months prior to that, because
3/15, 3/14.
Yeah.
March.
Yeah. All that partying with St. Patrick's Day, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mid-April. What's in mid-April?
Mid-April? Oh, mid-April, yeah. Oh, tax day. Yeah, right. The anxiety of tax day. That's right. It was April.
I don't know if I'd really consider procreating on tax day. But
yeah,
okay.
I don't know. Well, I guess, maybe it's like you got to do something. Might as well do something.
No, 9
fun,
months. Right? Yeah, 9 months would be mid-April.
Yeah. All right. So, Pete, explain to me, because I got my email yesterday with this.
Yes.
Is it January? When I printed this out, the date got cut off, so I can't announce. Is it January 20th?
Martin Luther King Day.
Okay, so this is Monday. So WSKB 89.5, the top 100 from 1979. Is this what they were going to do on New Year's Eve? And
Correct.
They didn't. Okay.
Because they couldn't, because the building had no water in it.
Right. Okay. So we're getting
It was rescheduled,
getting ahead of ourselves for our listeners. So on Monday, Martin Luther King's a holiday, his official birthday is today, but the holiday of his birthday, from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
If you tune in, you'll listen to the top 100 from 1979.
Yes.
With disc jockey Tom. How do you pronounce his last
Convery.
name? Convery. And producer DJ Jason Panda Phillips.
Yes.
So Tom Convery graduated in 78 from Westfield State.
Yes, he was a soccer player.
And Jason Phillips graduated in 2019. And for those of you who are frequent, who are regulars at
They
the
know the
Senior
Panda.
Center, you'll know Jason Phillips because he interned at the Senior Center, not this past summer, but the summer before. Yeah. And he helped us with pretty much every single thing that we did because he was there all summer. Mm-hmm. He was really flexible with his hours, so we could plug him in wherever we needed him, whenever we needed him. He was a wonderful intern. He goes by the name Panda on WSKB. So the two of them, and then we've also got Carolyn and Paul, is it Kakalice?
I don't know on that one.
Okay.
I'm not even going to attempt that one.
From athletic training. So I guess they're going to be sort of jumping in and
helping
helping
like
out.
What we all
kind of,
did.
Yeah, exactly. So tune into WSKB or your local cable channel 15, which is what a lot of you are watching now.
Channel 15,
yep. And there will be some surprise guest DJs. So that will be Monday. So what Pete was referring to was they were supposed to do this show on New Year's Eve. And they were going to do an all-day show on New Year's Eve.
And we used to do from 2 to midnight.
Exactly, what Pete used to do. And then they were going to do this broadcast live from the WSKB studio at Westfield State University.
Yep.
And it just so happened that on New Year's Eve, what was the problem? There was a building
They
problem.
broke a water main coming into the building. So they had no water in the building. They had to shut it down for that week and then January 6th through the 10th as well to repair the water main.
Okay. So they obviously couldn't do the radio show because
there was no facilities.
No facilities if facilities were needed. So so they're going to do it this coming Monday instead.
Yeah.
So if you are a fan of the music of the 70s, this will be all 1979.
79 was an interesting time because
was it a good year? Because I kind of feel like the 70s were not that great. But that's
just
my opinion.
It hit a lot of marks because it was the end of disco. There was some rock and roll
Thank
in
God.
there. And there was the pop of the 80s just starting to emerge. So
Yeah.
it was an interesting mix of all kinds of genres in that 1 year.
Yeah.
79, 80.
I was listening, Pete, to one of the top, whatever it was, top 40. I think it was Casey Kasem around the new year. They were doing all kinds of years and, what you did. And it was like mid 70s. And he's doing the top 10. I mean, I listened to most of it. I was doing some ironing or something, and I'm listening, and I thought, now I have to tell you, I went to high school and college during the 70s. So I graduated from high school in 75. I graduated from college in 79.
See, that's usually the music you identify with.
And you know what? Well, here's the thing. And I loved, and still do, to dance. And so I was dancing during the height of the disco craze. And I mean, when I was in college, we would have Friday night like disco dance type things at the campus center. And I mean, like not just like actually learning steps and moves and the pretzel and all this other stuff. And I loved it. And so that was great. But to listen to that music as just music, it was awful. I mean, it was like the same lyrics 700,000 times. They all had pretty much the same beat. That's why you could dance to all of it. So as much fun as I had in college dancing, in terms of the music from like a musical standpoint, anybody who really knows music, it was awful. So I agree with you. I think 79 would be an interesting year because you're kind of phasing out of the disco. I mean, there was some really fun disco music that I like to listen to as music, but by and large,
yeah,
most of it was pretty awful. It was
super
good dancing
crossover,
music. Yeah, it was just good dancing music. That was about it. But but then we started to transition into some other stuff into the 80s, which so
there was that rock and roll that was prevalent through the 70s when it was still on the pop charts.
Right.
And then the pop of the 80s, which was synth and all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah, then we got
it was wide open new wave, and it was just starting to break in.
Yeah. So that should be a really fun show. And it's one of those, they're going to do the top 100 and they're going to do it in 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is. Yeah, 10 hours.
It takes about 10 hours.
Yeah. So, you can kind of tune in if you're doing things, if you're traveling, put it on in your car. You can listen to, songs, 60 through 65
Good
and then
music
maybe
all day long.
Yeah, exactly, all day long. But you got to tune in like that last hour when you get into that top 10, like what were the really good ones or the really popular ones. So that'll be fun. All right, it is 6:49. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses. So I promised a song by Pitbull, and this is Fireball, which is one of my favorite Pitbull songs.
Mr. Worldwide to infinity, you know the roof on fire. We go boogie, oogie, oogie, jiggle, wiggle, and dance like the roof on fire. We go drink drinks and take shots until we fall out like the roof on fire. Now, baby, get my booty naked, take off all your clothes and light the roof on fire. Tell her, baby, 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 I'm on fire. I tell her, baby, 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 I'm a fireball. On fire, he ain't no lie. Well, y'all slipping, he's running the game. Now, big bang boogie, get that kitty little noogie in a nice little shave. I gave Susie a little pat up on the booty, and she turned around and said, "Walk this way." I was born in a flame. Mama said that every word was on my name. I'm the best you've ever had. If you think I'm burning out, I never am. Fireball. Fireball. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but I don't care what y'all say. Cause as the world turns, y'all boys gonna learn that this shit go right here don't play. That boy's from the bottom of the map. MIA USA. I gave Susie a little pat up on the booty and she turned around and said, "Walk this way." I was born in a flame. Mama said that every word was on my name. I'm the best you've ever had. If you think I'm burning out, I never am. I'm on fire. Fireball.
Copy that. That's a good config. You can give Christina a go to release her waist cutter. Hey, Christina, you have that go to release your waist cutter. Copy and work. And making her way to the work site today is Jessica Premiere. We've got an astronaut view right now from her helmet camera. You can determine this as nearest helmet camera by the number 11 in the bottom right-hand corner.
Fireball. Copy, Christina.
Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
This is Ken Stomsky from Ken's Den on WCPC 15 and 89.5 FM, Tuesdays, 8 to 10.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:54. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and happy National Hat Day. And Pete, what are we seeing on TV
You can see her
there?
there on the left side of your screen, beginning to move toward the toward her work site.
This is US
with Jessica
EVA
Meir.
62, doing a little repair work
Okay.
on
All
the
right.
International Space Station.
Okay, there it is. Pete is, for those of you
I
who don't
love
know,
this stuff.
Pete loves anything to
I
do
think the
with
ladies are back out. This is the ladies doing it, at least one of
space,
them.
astronomy. Pete loves all this stuff and has been to a lot of rocket launches. I mean,
Yeah, I'm going to miss
official.
the February one because I'm
Are
going
you?
to Florida instead.
Well, you know,
I
you
had to
need to
choose
get
my
away.
trip.
Yeah, you need to get away.
Yeah.
Okay, so
top of the Petersburg, heading forward.
okay,
That's them talking.
signing off.
Christina.
All right, so Pete, I'm sure that I missed this yesterday, but I'm sure, did JPEG Luca talk at all about the Beatlemania show coming?
Not yet, no.
he didn't.
He talked about the weekend.
You're kidding.
Well,
Okay,
you missed all this. Did you go to any of the shows this weekend?
I did not. So yeah, let's talk.
I went to the NXS show. That was really good.
Okay, so let's talk about this weekend. And I'm glad you brought that up because usually that's the way we start the show. It's like, what did you do this weekend? So tell us about that.
I took my mom. My girlfriend was sick.
This was for Gaslight Entertainment.
Gaslight Entertainment at the Women's Club. And they had an NXS tribute band called Kick.
Okay.
The drummer and the bass player out of Connecticut.
Okay.
And everybody else is out of South Carolina.
Now, was that the Saturday or the Sunday
Friday.
show? A Friday show. Okay.
Friday
How many
night.
shows did they do this weekend?
They did Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday matinee.
Now, were they all
Sunday afternoon.
Were they all different,
Yes.
or were they were all different?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. So
Friday-
you went Friday night.
Friday night, and the show was really good. They were a great band. About 120 people there.
Okay.
So it wasn't super packed.
Yeah, but that's nice.
But it was really fun, and it was
Good.
a really good show. And the NXS catalog is very deep.
Okay.
So they had Porter Carroll Jr. on Saturday,
Okay.
and James Montgomery on Saturday, and Porter Carroll Jr. on Sunday.
Okay.
And they're kind of blues R&B stuff.
Yes.
And they said they were. I guess the Porter Carroll Jr. They were packed. They were sold out.
Oh wow! Wonderful.
And then the Sunday show was about the same as the Friday show.
Okay. Okay.
But they said they were. Jay said they were excellent shows.
Oh,
So did
that's great.
Patrick.
Good to know. I know Patrick
And
had
other people were raving about it. I guess Bob
Good.
was raving about it too. So.
Good. Well, Patrick had invited me to the one of the shows over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We actually ended up we had plans and we ended up moving the rest of Grace's stuff from Plymouth to West Springfield, and so we rented a U-Haul. You know, had to drive out to Plymouth. So we were out there the weekend before packing up boxes and moving all the boxes in our cars.
Mm-hmm.
And then we left the bigger stuff, you know, the bed, the Yankee mattress and the Yankee box spring, and, you know, her recliner chair and all this other stuff. So that had to come back. So we did that on Saturday. And of course, you know, we were pretty wiped out after that. And then Sunday was spent because my house looked like a bomb went off because now we had moved all of her stuff into our house. So I had stuff in the dining room, stuff in the, you know, family room, like stuff everywhere. So we began the process of sorting and digging out. And thanks to my neighbor who's storing some of her, you know, we've been buying Grace over the years things for her apartment. So she, you know, last Christmas she asked for pots and pans and she got dishes and cooking utensils. Well, now she's at least temporarily living at home. So it's like, okay, well, I don't need an extra set of pots and pans. So my neighbor has been gracious enough to say that we could store some things over there.
Lucky
So
because you
Yeah, because otherwise we would have had to pay for a storage unit. That's exactly what we would have had to do. And this is just really convenient too, because that way, if we decide if she needs something, she can just run over to Norman Sandy's and knock on the door and say, "Hey, I need to get in the basement." And and so I put everything. So I went out and bought a lot of clear plastic bins, so I didn't have to do a lot of labeling. We have everything in clear bins, so we can see what's in there.
Sure.
So that's been the process. So I told Grace this morning. I said, "Okay, we are. Each night we're trying to keep digging our way through this," because I said I would really like to get my house back, because we went from taking down all the Christmas decorations and ornaments to I got those put away before we started bringing her stuff back, because I said to Gary, otherwise I've got a Christmas tree and I'm trying to work around all this stuff.
Sure, yeah.
So that was our weekend. And but the one thing I'll say was God was with us, because the weather was incredible. As Gary said, when we planned this with Gracie, we didn't have a lot of wiggle room on our weekends of when we could do this. It was pretty much the last 2 weekends, and this past weekend when we had to do the big stuff, it was 65 degrees in Plymouth. It was very windy, but still, as Gary said, we could have been doing this in a blizzard, in a snowstorm. It could have been 2 degrees below zero.
Yeah.
So we were really lucky, and so that's done. The Plymouth apartment is closed. She's officially moved home, and at least for now, and she's happy to be here. Has a job at Armbrook Village, and just a little part-time job right now, which either that'll develop into something full-time or she'll look for something full-time. So she's happy to be back, and has been helping us out at the senior center, doing some volunteer work for us at the front desk. And and I have to say, it's very handy having a 28-year-old around the house, because I work a lot of hours, Gary works a lot of hours, and Grace has been really wonderful about running errands for us and getting things done for us, and so it's been nice. Yeah,
you have a personal assistant now.
I do. I have my own personal assistant. But anyway, so before we take the break, it is 7 o'clock, and you are listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. We're going to take our top of the hour break in just a minute, but because we started this conversation about the Beatlemania show, so Beatlemania is coming to Westfield High School on the concert is January 31st, which I think is a Friday night. Do I have that right, Pete? If you could check that. Okay. While you're doing that, the time is 7:30 to 10 o'clock p.m.
31st is a Friday night.
It is a Friday night. That's what I thought. Ticket prices are, the VIP tickets are $45. The front floor is $35, and the back section is $30. There was a really nice article in the Penny Saver, but the problem was they didn't put either the ticket price or the time, so I looked that up.
I know that in the was it the Rotary signboards that are around town?
Yeah.
They're up there.
Did they put that up? That's on Route 20. Yeah,
20 coming in from town from the north side.
Yep.
And then out on 202 in Southwick. They put up banners over that to show.
So tickets for the show are available online at www.purplepass.com, or you can call 800-838-3006. They do expect that this is going to sell out fairly quickly, and that auditorium only seats 750. So if you're interested in Beatlemania on Friday, January 31st, get your tickets. And the money raised is going to support
Westfield High
School music programs in general, right?
Yep.
And
band, chorus, all that stuff.
Yeah, and it says Westfield High School Band has over 100 students enrolled in the school music program.
Yep.
So going to a good cause. And I sense JPEG Luca all over this, so I'm sure Jay had a lot to do with, right? Bringing in the band and all of the particulars, and I know he's a huge supporter of the high school bands. And by the way, one more time, which I think I mentioned this last week on the show, but the combined bands, the Westfield High School and Westfield Technical Academy bands that played at Mayor Hummerson's inauguration I felt they did an outstanding job. Patrick Kennedy, director, they were I thought they were top notch, just did a great job. It is 7:02. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. We're going to take our top of the hour break. When we come back, we have Mary Lou Najolski, the program director from the Council on Aging Senior Center, with us this morning to talk about
by Westfield Electroplating, Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for ArtsBeat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and we are broadcasting from Westfield Technical Academy. And behind the board, behind the glass, is producer Pete Coles, the chairman of the board. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
Who's a little under the weather today, but toughing it out over there. So is everybody. Well, luckily I'm not, and my guest this morning, Mary Lou Najowski, my program director. We're so far so good, right, Mary Lou?
So far so good.
We're good. We're just, we're washing our hands a lot and disinfecting everything. And just so that you know, because I was mentioning earlier that one of our co-workers was not doing as well today, but of course I pulled the Karen Noblet, put my gloves on in her office and ran those Clorox wipes over her phone, her computer, her doorknob, and every single thing that she touched in that office.
Absolutely.
So, and then I left the door open to air it out with the fan on for a few hours till I went back and then shut it up. So I think we're good.
Yay.
So we are going to be talking a lot this second hour about programming at the Senior Center, but before we do that, I did my big shout out to the Westfield High School Band and the Westfield Technical Academy bands and the wonderful job that they did at the inauguration. And speaking of bands, you don't just get to be a good band player when you're in high school. And Chris Tulpa, who's the principal of Franklin School, started an after-school program for the younger students, which is a great program. She has a lot of kids at the elementary school that want to participate in this program. It's a constructive use of the students' time after school, so they're not getting into trouble, and so that they have some things to do. But there's one problem, and that is that band instruments are very expensive, either to buy them or to rent them. So Chris is looking for instrument donations. So as you begin to, clean out closets, it's the winter, so this is a good time to do your indoor closet cleaning. As you do that, if you come across an old band instrument from, one of your kids or one of your grandkids or one of your siblings or yourself, Chris is, it can be used is fine, old is fine, that's okay. If you have a trumpet, a flute, a clarinet, saxophone, trombone, or some other band instrument. Now, I had one of my seniors who was willing to donate an organ. Now, that's not a band. You can't really march down, the 50-yard line with an organ on your back. So
no.
Nothing like that. But if you have those band instruments and you would like to donate them, we will collect them at the Senior Center and get them over to Franklin School. So I consider this to be the ultimate recycle.
It is a big recycle.
And you know what? I have this philosophy, which is that if you have something in your closet that's been sitting there for 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and you're not using it, and someone else can benefit from it. I had this discussion with James Jordan, who's the who works for Veteran Services. We were talking about coats and jackets. And I said, we live in New England. And so if you have a winter coat that you haven't worn in 6 or 7 years, either because it doesn't feel right, or you just have a lot of coats, you don't really wear that one, or it's not a color that you bought it. He was talking about a winter coat that he bought on impulse. Mm-hmm. And he said, it's brand new with the tag on. And he said he's had it for several years, and he finally decided last weekend, you know what? Somebody else could use this coat. So I'm saying the same thing about your band instruments. If you have a band instrument, if you're saving it because you think that, one of your great-great-great-grandchildren is going to play it, probably not. So Chris would love to have it. So bring it on to the senior center, and we will make sure that they get that. So Mary Lou is here, and the first thing that we have to talk about, and we're going to take a break in 5 minutes, so we'll just talk about this for the next 4 or 5 minutes. Is today's National Hat Day?
Certainly is.
And Mary Lou brought an array of hats over here that she has displayed on the table. So let's talk about you. She's putting her reds on. I said to her, it's a little challenging because you got the headphones on. You got to find a hat that'll fit over the headphones. So National Hat Day. Let's talk a little bit about National Hat Day. So hang on to your hats and celebrate in style on National Hat Day. Celebrated each year on January 15th. Don your favorite fedora, cap, derby, sun hat, top hat, three-cornered hat. We got all kinds of hats here. Wear your, dig out your ceremonial best and tell the story behind it. Wear your warmest stocking cap or beanie. There are so many hats and fashions. Certainly, we could wear a hat a day and never get through them all. So hats may be worn for safety and protection, religious reasons, ceremonial reasons, warmth, or fashion. In the Middle Ages, hats were an indicator of social status. In the military, hats may denote one's nationality, branch of service, rank, and or regiment. Millinery is the designing and manufacture of hats, and the term milliner derived from the city of Milan, Italy. So there's a little trivia for you, Pete. Put that one in your trivia book. The best quality hats were made in Milan in the 18th century. Millinery began as traditionally a woman's occupation, as the milliner not only created hats and bonnets, but also chose lace, trim, and accessories to complete an outfit. The history of National Hat Day, like why are we celebrating it? Well, since at least 1983, National Hat Day has been observed in libraries, schools, and museums across the country. And now we're adding senior centers to that, right, Mary Lou?
That's right, today.
They invited students and patrons to wear their favorite hats or hats of their occupation. People of all ages show up in pirate hats and football helmets. Patrol officers, postal workers, restaurant servers also wear their hats to various events. So happy National Hat Day. And as you know, we've mentioned a couple times, so today we are celebrating National Hat Day at the Senior Center. So if you join us for lunch, you need to wear a hat. And that's not all, right, Mary Lou?
Never.
Also,
never one thing.
It's never just one thing, because we like to do things big time at the Senior Center. It is also National Strawberry Ice Cream Day. So each year, National Strawberry Ice Cream Day on January 15th celebrates one of the choicest flavors of ice cream. Strawberry ice cream is made by blending strawberries with eggs, cream, vanilla, and sugar. Food coloring is also often used to give it that pink or that sort of light red hue. During James Madison's second inauguration in 1813, strawberry ice cream was served.
Well then.
There you go. If it's good enough for James Madison, it's good enough for the Westfield Senior Center.
That's right.
It's also one of the 3 flavors found in Neapolitan ice cream, along with vanilla and chocolate. So for those of you who like that variety. Other variations of strawberry ice cream include strawberry cheesecake ice cream and strawberry ripple ice cream. So we are combining National Hat Day and National Strawberry Ice Cream Day. We're wearing our hats to lunch at the Senior Center today. And Joanne Spear, our food services coordinator, has made sure that we are stocked up on strawberry ice cream for dessert.
Strawberry ice cream it is for everyone.
For everyone. There you go. So Mary Lou, let's talk about your hats over here. So what did you, we have to talk about why we chose the hats that we chose. So what did you bring in here? You have a variety. You have 3 hats.
I couldn't decide.
Okay.
I couldn't decide. So we went with red because it's strawberries and it's the Red Sox.
Oh.
I know we're in trouble, but
I know. Yeah, Pete and I haven't talked about that. We do need to talk about that.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that after the break because we just need to mention it.
Red
Sox. Okay. And I like the idea of the theme of the red with the strawberry ice cream. And
red shirt.
Look at you. Okay.
Yeah.
See,
My
there's a
shoes
story
are red
behind
too.
I love it.
Yep. And then And these I all got from my son Nicholas.
Okay, because I was going to say
I rated his closet.
Well, I'm thinking the Boston Red Sox hat. Okay, easy peasy. But the 3-cornered hat, where did that one come from?
Well, it was a Halloween costume.
Oh, there you go.
Halloween costume.
Okay, so we have the 3-cornered hat.
I do believe
very patriotic for a New Englander.
Because Nicholas truly loves the Boston duck boats, and there is a gentleman that his name on the duck tour is Paul Reverse.
Oh, you gotta love it. You've got to love it. Okay.
And then this year for Halloween, Nicholas was the Mad Hatter.
Oh my! That hat looks like it weighs about 500 pounds.
Well,
is it pretty heavy?
It's awkward.
Yeah,
but it does have a red band.
It does have a red band.
How cool is that?
That is very cool.
So, those are the 3 hats.
So, do you know which one you're going to wear when you serve lunch today? Have we decided yet? I'm going to guess.
Definitely not.
I was going to say, I'm guessing it's not the Mad Hatter.
Somebody's going to have that in their lunch.
Right, exactly. But we can.
That one won't stay on. Yeah.
No, I think that's a good one that we could use as a prop, though, to put, like on the stage somehow, just to kind of emphasize National Hat Day.
I don't know. I'll have to see because I do. Baseball cap is easy, but I don't know. I'm not always Miss Traditional.
There you go. Well, let me tell you about my hat. So I chose, this is a sailing cap, and I bought this cap because several years ago when my brother, I want to say when my brother Dave turned, I think it was when Dave turned 60, and he is now 66. So when Dave turned 60, he and my brother, these are my 2 older brothers, had decided that they wanted to do one of those sailing trips in Maine, off the coast of Maine, where you actually work the boat, right? And so they had planned this unbeknownst to me. And so what happened was the year Dave turned 60, they had made all the plans, and then my brother Mike had emergency surgery. So I can't remember I don't know what it was. But anyway, it was some kind of emergency surgery. So they had to postpone the trip a year. So and I didn't know anything about this at all until the postponement. And they were both at my house one day and they were talking about this trip that they were going to do 6 months from then. Because this must have been at Christmas and they were going to do it in the summer. So what are you guys talking about? Oh, well, we were going to do this trip for Dave's 60th and blah, blah, blah. But now we're going to do it, coming up. And so I said, well, is this just for men? And so I said, is this like an all guys thing? Is this like a bromance thing? Is this like a brother thing that you have to be one of the brothers to participate? And so Mike said, no, because it was Dave's his birthday present from Mike. And Mike said, no. He goes, do you want to come? And I said, yeah, I want to come. Because a girlfriend of mine had done this 20 years ago, probably even more than that, and just talked about how much she thought I would love it. She said it was so fun. So I said, I've wanted to do this for 20 years. Well, it was really cool because my older brothers were really excited. We didn't ask you. We never even thought that you would want to do something like that. So then they said, well, that means we have to ask our younger brothers since we're, but we all knew Steve wouldn't do it because, it was like Steve lives outside of New York City and likes to always look like he stepped out of GQ. So, you're on a boat, Steve. You don't have a hair dryer. You can't take a shower for 45 minutes and get yourself primped and ready. So, Yeah, Steve was like, no, thank you. Thanks for the invite, but I don't think so. But anyway, so right before we got up to Camden, Maine, that's where we sailed out of.
Yes,
and right before we got up to Camden, it was a couple hours before the ship was going to sail. And of course the wind is blowing. It was beautiful. I mean, it was sunny and warm, but it was, and I thought, okay, I'm going to be out on a sailboat. It's not going to be a good hair experience at all. I had shorter hair then, and I just thought this is going to be so bad. So I decided I needed a hat. So I went into one of the shops there and they had these just really cool sailing caps. And I just thought, oh, I really like this. So that was the story. And I wore it it was like a 3 or 4 day sailing excursion. I wore it the whole time. And every time I used to wear this shirt in the summer, people would say to me, you look like you belong on a sailboat. Yep. So I decided to do the whole outfit today. I wasn't really thinking of the red for the strawberry ice cream, but it works. So I'm going with that. So there it is.
Perfect.
Yeah. So we're all ready. So I'm ready to go sailing into National Hat Day.
There it is.
You don't have it. I have no idea. Do you have any idea what's on the menu today? Because I really don't remember.
I certainly do.
Oh, go Mary Lou.
Eggplant, parm, and ziti.
Oh.
I'm not sure if we're having salad, but we might be having salad because I know we got a delivery.
We did. So talk about that.
So, we are lucky enough that there was a grant, and we are now getting lettuce. I know we will get other vegetables, but we are getting lettuce from WTA.
From here, from Westfield Technical Academy, from the horticulture department.
And we had some the other day. It was fabulous. I honestly don't know if Joanne used it all up or not, but I'm sure if there is, enough lettuce, we'll be having lettuce and salad with our eggplant parm, and I believe it's ziti or some sort of pasta.
Some kind of pasta.
Yep, some sort of pasta, and of course strawberry ice cream for dessert.
There you go. So that's on tap for today. It is 7:20. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses, and my guest this morning is Mary Lou Najelski, program director, and I would be remiss if I didn't play a song for Mary Lou, so here's our Mary Lou song.
Hello, Mary Lou. Goodbye, heart, sweet Mary Lou. I'm so in love with you. I do, Mary Lou. We never part. So hello, Mary Lou. Goodbye, heart. Pass me by one sunny day, flash those big brown eyes my way, and ooh, I wanted you forevermore. Now I'm not one that gets around, swear my feet stuck to the ground, and though I never did meet you before, I said hello, Mary Lou. Goodbye, heart, sweet Mary Lou, I'm so in love with you. I do, Mary Lou, we never part, so hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart. I saw your lips, I heard your voice. Believe me, I just had no choice. Wild horses couldn't make me stay away. I thought about a moonlit night, arms around you good and tight. That's all I had to see for me to say. Hey, hey, hello, Mary Lou. Goodbye, heart, sweet Mary Lou. I'm so in love with you. I knew, Mary Lou, we never part. So hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart. So hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart. Yes, hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
This is Ken Stomsky from Ken's Den on WCPC 15 and 89.5 FM, Tuesdays, 8 to 10.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:23. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, January 15th. It is the actual birthday of Martin Luther King, so we honor him today. 37 degrees outside, going up to the sort of low to mid 40s today. So it's going to be kind of, not a bad day, not terrible, partly sunny, warmer than normal. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow, the same thing. And then I understand the temperature is going to drop, I think, for Friday.
The deep freeze is setting in.
Yeah. And you know what? We live in New England.
But seasonable, though.
It is seasonable. And you know what? We can see a lot of grass and we can see a lot of pavement.
Because the highs this time of year are 28.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, no.
Those are the normal temperatures around 28.
Yeah, we really can't complain. It's, hasn't been bad.
On TV, they said this morning they were encouraging golfers to get to the golf course today.
There you go.
Because tomorrow
not so much. So much. It's going to start dropping. So that voice you hear is Mary Lou Najelski. Mary Lou is the program director at the Council on Aging. And Mary Lou, you are going to be celebrating a Council on Aging anniversary coming up in February. How many years will you have been with us in February? Do you know? Do you remember?
I do believe it's 3 years.
Well, the senior center, I'm trying to remember whether it's 3 or 4 because the senior center is 4.5.
I know.
Did
so
you
it
come
might
the
be
first
4.
year?
I came shortly after
we opened. We opened in October, so
right.
I can't remember if you came the first February. We'll have to look that up, or the following one. So 3 or 4 years.
Yep,
you've been there a while.
Yep.
Enough to know what you're doing now.
Yes,
enough to know exactly what was on that menu.
That is
which
true.
I did not know. So, so let's talk a little bit about you before we get into. We're going to talk especially that second half hour, this last half hour about programming, some special events that are coming up at the Senior Center, kind of how we plan, how do we program? Because I think some people, well, why can't we do this and why can't we do that? Or hey, how did you come up with that idea? That was fun. So we'll talk a little bit about how we do that. But let's talk a little bit about you for those listeners who don't know you or know who you are or know you only as the program director. We have other jobs. I ran into Jack Hurdy, who's the son of one of our regulars at the Senior Center in Big Y, and he was so funny, probably like 3 weeks ago. And we literally kind of were in the produce section and looked up and saw each other, and he said, Tina, like, do you like shop and eat? I think of you as you are the director of the Senior Center. That's what you do. He said it's like when you're little kids and you think your teacher lives in the classroom like folds up and goes to sleep in the desk drawer. So what about Mary Lou outside of the Senior Center?
Let's see. I don't know, Mary Lou. I really enjoy sports. I have to say.
I was going to say, what do you do? What do you do for fun? What do you
something that my husband and I have in common? Baseball. My husband's favorite sport is hockey. So
I did not know that.
Yep. As often, as we can, the hockey game is either on TV or last weekend we went to see the UMass hockey. We didn't get to see the good game. We saw the game they lost, but nonetheless. It was still fun. We go to the Bruins a couple times a year.
I did not know that.
Go to the Red Sox. I have never been to a professional football game, but I do. I truly enjoy sports, whether I'm watching it or it's on the TV, but I'm doing other things and I can hear it in the background. I do like those things. So golf is not one of my favorites, but like when the Olympics come on or things like that, and
we're coming up 2020 Summer Olympics.
So,
and you're a walker. You like to walk.
I do. I try my best. The winter is hard. Just because it's darker. I don't mind being out so much in the cold.
Yep.
But it's dark.
I know.
Because I like to walk before work, not after work. We just kind of make it work.
What my fear is with the dark. I mean, it's not so much that I'm afraid of people. I'm more afraid of animals. Nocturnal animals. Like I don't want to run into a skunk or a raccoon or a bear. Those are my three. It's like please don't do this. So that's it. And I've said the same thing. It's not the cold.
Nope.
I mean, I've bundled up and walked when it's 0 and with a wind chill and so forth. Just the fresh air feels good, but it's that we don't have a lot of daylight when we're not working.
Right. Exactly. Right. I know. I have to admit, I look forward because as I'm driving to work, there's lots of people walking. It's like, okay, so when I retire, I'm going to sleep later and get up and go for a walk when it's light out.
Yeah. When I want to. When I want to. Exactly when I want to. And you are married.
I am.
And John is one of our newer water commissioners. We can say that for the city. Yep. So thank you to John Najowski for doing that because, that's especially in Westfield right now with water. So lots of issues going on there.
Yep. He works for an environmental consulting firm. He's been doing that forever. So he thought it was a good way to give back to the community. So that's what he does,
And the community appreciates that.
So
and you have one son.
We have one son, Nicholas,
who owns lots of hats.
Yes, who owns lots of hats and different, costumes of some different, whatever
eras.
And Nicholas will be 25 in June, which is hard for me to believe. Yep, Nicholas will be 25 in June. So it's kind of weird to
that's
have a child that's a quarter century.
I know that, and it's so funny because that's how I judge how long I've known people. Because when you think like I've known you since I like to tell people that I stole you from the mayor's office because Mary Lou used to be the right hand person of former Mayor Dan Knappich, and that's how I met her. But like Nick was in school, he was in high school, and so it's so funny because that's how I'll say to somebody, they'll say, well, my child is, 21 years old. 21. Like, I've known you since your kid was in second grade. So that's, that's kind of how long you've had those friendships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you did work for the mayor's office.
I
and
did.
Very different working at the senior center, or not so different? What do you think? Now you've got a few years under your belt. What do you think?
There's some commonalities. The commonalities are, sometimes people are not too happy.
Cranky, as Mary Lou likes to say. I like that word. Yes. I think it's kind.
Yeah, they're,
And sometimes people are just cranky just because they've got health issues or they've got their own stuff going on. They're not mad at us, and they're not.
Right.
They're just frustrated and mad at everything right now, and sometimes you take it out on the people you like the best. So
and exactly. And I mean, I think that was the thing. That was the one takeaway that I had in the mayor's office. They weren't particularly cranky at me, but they needed somebody to voice their frustration with. And so, I was the voice on the other end of the phone.
You were the sounding board.
Yep. And so, I mean, sometimes the same kind of thing at the senior center. But most of the time, folks they're happy. They like what we're doing. They like that we listen and take their ideas for different programs.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, I enjoy the fact that we try it.
Mm-hmm.
We know that everything's not going to work, but we don't have a crystal ball and know exactly what is going to work.
Yep.
So, I mean, the chess club comes to mind. I mean, we had two gentlemen that played chess only with each other for a year to 18 months, and that was it. And I will tell you, there were 12 guys playing chess this Monday.
That is unbelievable to me. And the chess group just cracks me up. It's Chess with Les, because Les Hutton, he was the one who came to me, chessboard in hand, like under his arm. I want to start a chess group. And I said, okay, what do you need? And he goes, nothing. I got a chessboard. And we can get more boards if we see how many people. And that was at the old senior center. And, I can tell for years it was chess. It was Les and Jack Leary, who was my former chair of my COA board, the two of them. And then somebody else started observing who hadn't played in a long time and kind of wanted to join in. And it's one of those things where, and then somebody else, kind of comes in. And then when we moved to the new senior center, as you said, Mary Lou, we were kind of back to two. And every time we do sort of a push, we'll put an article in the newsletter, put some flyers up. They'll do a press release in the Westfield News, and suddenly we have more people. And I joke around with the group, and I said it's like my favorite program at the senior center because it is the quietest group.
They are so quiet.
You don't know how many you could go in there. There could be 2 people or 12 people, but nobody's saying anything because they're all pondering their next move, focusing and concentrating. And Les Hutton will give you a laundry list of why chess is really beneficial, just in terms of your powers of reasoning. And, if you're concerned about, onset of dementia, there are all kinds of, there's research to back up the fact that a game like chess where you really have to think about it, really interesting strategy. So,
So, I mean, like I said, there are some commonalities. I don't know, wherever you work, there's commonalities, and I have to say, I enjoy lunch. I think that's my favorite time of day.
And what do you do for lunch? What do you do at lunch?
At lunchtime,
what's your role?
Joanne, the kitchen manager, and I right now are pouring coffee at 11:45 so that everybody can get seated, have their coffee, and get ready to have lunch, because we were finding 2 things. We had folks that were having a little bit of a hard time getting their coffee back to their table, whether, they were a little bit shaky or it just took them a long time. And also we wanted to be able to keep the price of our lunches at $3. So we decided that we were going to try this out. So you get coffee at 11:45. Everybody gets a cup of coffee, tea, water, whatever they're drinking with their meal. And then we get ready to serve. And there are 3 carts that we serve from. Everybody always wonders, how do we know what we're doing? And there's numbers on the table. We do, most of the time there's 2 people per lunch cart, sometimes just 1. But 1 cart does the odd numbers, 1 cart does the even numbers. If we have people up on the stage or the deck, as we call it, that's my job. I start up there, and then I start at the highest number, let's say table 12, and then I go backwards and meet the folks in the middle. So I do odds and evens, 12, 11, 10.
Yep.
And we meet in the middle, and everybody gets lunch. And I would say even on a party day when there's 112 people sitting in that room, we are done by quarter after.
We have it down to a science.
It
We're
is.
pretty proud
It
of
is.
that because
Yep,
initially
we
when
are.
we started, people were like, you're going to serve us. It's going to take us so long. We're not going to be eating until. And I remember Agnes Fleming, your activities aide, who used to time it and then to make an announcement. We served, 87 people in 9 minutes. Whatever it was. She would, she would make this announcement. And I noticed that since then people have stopped saying that because it's a very efficiently run program. So we're not racing, we're not flying through, but it's very efficient. One cart comes back, then we load up the next one, then you have this nice sort of assembly line of getting everybody served, and it's really nice for the seniors because it's kind of like a restaurant style. Now everything is being served. Your beverages are being served. You come up and you get those, but they're being poured for you. And then your cream and your sugar and whatever you want in it is on your table. So you can prepare it the way you want, just like in a restaurant. Your meals are served. And then when you're done, you simply push your plate to the center. You don't have to do anything, and we'll come around and clean it up for you. So,
and we have a great group of volunteers. I mean, different people on different days, and they're really good about it. I think they enjoy that part of their day as well. They enjoy that piece of volunteering, and we really have a good time. In
Perfect.
There.
All right, we are going to take a break. It is 7:36. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield Masses. So this song is in honor of the birthday of Louis M. Terman, who refined the Stanford Binet IQ test. It's If I Only Had a Brain from The Wizard of Oz.
I could while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with the rain. And my head I'd be scratching while my thoughts were busy hatching if I only had a brain. I'd unravel every riddle for any individual in trouble or in pain.
With the thoughts you'd be thinking you could be another Lincoln if you only had a brain.
Oh, I could tell you why the ocean's near the shore. I could think of things I never thought before, and then I'd sit and think some more. I would not be just a nuffin', my head all full of stuffin', my heart all full of pain. I would dance and be merry, life would be a ding-a-dairy if I only had a brain.
Wonderful. Why, if our scarecrow back in Kansas could do that, the crows would be scared to pieces.
They would? Where's Kansas?
That's where I live. And I want to get back there so badly, I'm going all the way to Emerald City to get the Wizard of Oz to help me.
You're going to see a wizard? Do you think if I went with you, this wizard would give me some brains?
I couldn't say.
Won't you take me with you?
Why, of course I will.
Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at Rockies.com.
This is Ken Stomsky from Ken's Den on WCPC 15 and 89.5 FM, Tuesdays, 8 to 10.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
No, we're doing the movie in February.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Sorry, there we are. I was like, what was that? I had my thing turned way down because we were talking about all this stuff, and then I went, and I said, oh, we should see where we are with this song. And I went, okay, I don't hear a song.
You know that song was only like a minute and 15 seconds,
way
right?
shorter than I realized. Okay.
Yes.
So sorry, Pete. Were you like filling in airtime, or was it just dead?
No. It was just It just came back. That's why I opened my mic back up. I was like,
okay, good. Perfect.
Girls aren't talking. We better do something.
There we are. Okay, so this
You're
is...
talking about a movie. So what's going on with this movie?
Okay, so, we're talking about upcoming programs at the Senior Center. So I'm going to let Mary Lou... I want to start with...
I'm interested now.
Well, we'll get back to that, Pete. So put that on hold for just 1 second. But we are we're doing a couple of partnerships with the Athenaeum. We were contacted by Kate Devaney, who is the new executive director of the Westfield Athenaeum, who said, hey, I was looking at your newsletter and I was looking at our newsletter, and I think there's some overlap, and can we combine some programs? So I'm going to let Mary Lou talk about the first one that's coming up next week, actually, or the week after, right?
Yep, January 21st.
Yep. Next week.
So we're calling it the History Chat. And as Tina said, we're partnering with the Athenaeum. And Susan Creighton is the person that is going to lead this discussion, which I think I love the kickoff. It is going to be, the theme is exploring local history, but this particular session is going to school. So they want you to think about what things were like when you went to school and be prepared to talk about it. So they're going to talk about that and just kind of go around and, see what people's memories were and how things are very different, from today. Maybe they've heard their grandchildren talk about, what goes on in school, and maybe a little different, we certainly didn't do that when I was in school.
We certainly didn't have computers.
No.
And I think the other thing too about the history chat. So the Athenaeum, Sue Creighton is the director of the archives over at the Westfield Athenaeum. So the way Sue has outlined this is that they're going to have 3 different types of history sessions, depending on the month. So the history chat is a very informal. You come in, as Mary Lou just said, you kind of talk about what was it like going to school in Westfield, whether it was high school or elementary school, or maybe you were a teacher. That brings a different perspective. Well, I taught at, Fort Meadow School back in the 1960s or whatever. So that'll be the chat. And then the history talk, that will, and actually they're going to be doing a history talk in February. That's when they'll bring in a professional, a local historian. And what they're doing here is that Bob Brown is going to be coming in talking about the history of public schools in Westfield. So a little bit more of a presentation. And then the third type of history session that they're going to do, they're calling Treasures from the Archives. And that's when they're actually seeking input and help from the public to help identify some of what they have, especially photographs. So they've got some photographs. It's like, does anybody know who these people are?
Who are
and they're not they're not like from the 1800s. I mean, they're photographs that, our seniors would, hey, that's my neighbor. I went to school with, Joanne or whatever. So we're really excited. So the first one is when, Mary Lou?
The first one is Tuesday, January 21st, and it is from 2 to 3 in the afternoon. It's going to be at the Senior Center.
Right.
So we look forward to having everybody there.
No sign-ups for this.
Nope, no sign-ups at all.
Come.
You just appear.
Yep, and it'll be, so we're going to be doing this in partnership with the Athenaeum on the third Tuesday of the month from 2 to 3 p.m.
Right.
And then there's another program that we've done this before, and we're kind of reviving the Dine and Dash program.
Yes.
So talk to us about that.
Yep, so Dine and Dash is... I love the name. You can come to the Senior Center, have your lunch, and then get over to the Athenaeum in time for the First Thursday concert series. So absolutely, you can do that because we serve lunch promptly at 12. You have your lunch and you're on your way. And the list of concerts is in the Fireside Lounge. So there's all different kinds of musics, all different kinds of genres. So it's great if it's something that you'd like to do and you want to have lunch with us, but then you do want to go to the concert. You can do both. The concerts are free. It is. I want to say they got a grant, but I'm not positive.
Yeah,
on
they
that.
are. They're working. That concert series has been done under a grant for many years, and they don't do it in the summer. It's usually sort of September or October through I think May is their last one. So as you said, Mary Lou, they have a brochure that Kate gave us that we have in the Fireside Lounge. So that has the whole list.
Yeah.
And the concerts start at 1:00.
They do.
So that's really plenty of time to have lunch at the senior center, and you don't even have to rush through lunch. I mean, you'll have a leisurely lunch. It'll still give you plenty of time to get over to the Athenaeum if you want to enjoy. And it's the first Thursday of the month, so that it's very consistent. And what I've been trying to do is in our newsletters just put a little article about what the concert is for that month. So I know there's one coming up in February, which you have
I do. It's February 6th. And it says it will feature the Westfield YMCA's American Classics Vocal Group. And that's under the direction of Emily Harnish. And the group will perform a variety of classic songs. So it sounds great. And it says there's going to be a short intermission with a special treat in honor of Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so I think they're doing something a little special here for Valentine's Day. So those are both programs that we're partnering with the Athenaeum, and I applaud Kate Devaney for saying we don't need to reinvent the wheel if we're both kind of doing some similar things. Let's either do them together or do them in conjunction with each other. So that's that. We also have in February, we're starting our Sweet Relief Diabetes Support Group. So we're excited about that. And that one, I believe, is going to be the third Wednesday of the month from 1 to 2:30. That's being facilitated by Jennifer Jaffune is a registered dietitian. She's local. She's been practicing for many years. She used to run the diabetes support group through Noble Hospital when it was just Noble Hospital. So we will have more information about that in the February newsletter. Jen is also going to be a guest on this radio show the first Wednesday in February. So we'll be spending a lot more time talking about that then. But if you are interested, we are asking for people to sign up just because we have to figure out what room to put to put the session in.
Exactly.
And we just need to know, roughly about how many people. So you can, we've already had people starting to sign up for the diabetes support group. You can just call the senior center at 562-6435. And if you have, if you want more information and have questions, Jen will be a guest on my show the first Wednesday of February. She's actually going to take the place of Dr. Gorman, who is going to be away the first Wednesday of February. But it's a perfect opportunity for Jen to kind of explain how the group will be run, who it's appropriate for, et cetera.
Right before it starts. So that'll be great.
Exactly.
That will be great.
All right. And also in March, I want to talk about the chili cook-off. So again, briefly, because I'm really starting to think I may have these two people involved in this. So first of all, it's the what is it? The chili chowder and chocolate cook-off?
Yes.
Do I have that right?
Chili chowder. Oh no, I'm sorry. Chocolate comes first.
Oh, chocolate. Well,
of course it does.
Yeah, why not?
Chocolate chowder and chili cook-off, and it is on March 7th over at the YMCA from 11:30 to 1:30.
Right.
So
you get a ticket. I think we can get tickets in advance. I think last year we sold tickets at the senior center.
I believe that we did. Yep. So we'll have to contact Cindy Egan and make sure that we can get our tickets so that folks can do that.
Right. It's a fundraiser for the YMCA.
Yep. And it's for the Livestrong program.
It is for the Livestrong program. So they run that, which is a free program for cancer survivors who have been deconditioned because of their treatments. So it's a great program.
Yep.
But Mary Lou, you need to talk about our involvement in the chocolate chowder and chili cook-off.
Well, last year was our first year that we entered, and Joanne, our kitchen manager, and George, her assistant, entered with a chili. And this year we decided that since Mark Carbonneau spends a lot of time due to the senior safety office in our building, that we should combine resources. And so Mark and Joanne are going to be combining with the chili.
They're entering together.
Yep. So they have one entry instead of two. and cuts down on the arguing, at the senior
Well,
center.
because I did not realize, unbeknownst to Mary Lou and me, for our listening audience, when I saw this ad, and I was talking this up on the radio, and they were looking for, the YMCA is looking for the more participants they have with cooks and bakers and so forth, the more fun the event is. There are lots more things to sample. So I said to Joanne, well, do you want to do this? We've never done, we've never entered. She said, okay, that sounds like fun. But unbeknownst to me, the police and fire enter, and this is a huge rivalry.
Certainly
and
is.
Officer Mark Carbino, who is our senior safety officer, as Mary Lou mentioned, he does the chili for the police, and I don't know who's doing it for the fire, but there's this huge rivalry. So when I mentioned to Mark, just innocently, that we were going to, also join, and wow, how can you do that? It's, we don't, that's going to create this more of a rivalry. And now I've got you in the mix. And as Mary Lou said, there was a lot of arguing that happened. So I said, well, I didn't realize that you made chili. We would have done chowder or chocolate or something else. So anyway, this year we decided we'll join forces.
Yep.
Play nice in the sandbox,
That's
as
right.
Miss Fleming likes to say.
Absolutely.
So Mark and Joanne will be working on this together, and I won't reveal any secrets, but I think we may have to get them on the show in late February to talk about this, their partnership here.
Their partnership, yes, that would be fun.
Right, and if you could just, I think Cindy Egan's is her number. If you would
Yes, it
like
is.
to participate in the fray, and either make a chili or a chowder or something chocolate oriented, and you want to contact Cindy Egan. Do you have that number?
Cindy Egan's phone number is 568-8631, and she is at extension 323.
Perfect. All right, so let's talk about some special. Do you have the special event calendar coming up? We have about 9 minutes here. Pete, I'm blowing through our. Can I blow through the? Yes, thank you. I got the thumbs up on blowing through my song because we have a lot to talk about.
We do.
All right, so let's talk about some of the special events coming up. This is a sneak preview, especially for our regulars.
Sneak preview. I think the first thing, it isn't a special event, but it's a new thing that we're going to try, is Movie Day.
Okay, yeah,
So-
Pete was asking about that before.
Yeah,
So let's talk
so-
about Movie Day. I keep getting caught in my.
So we are going to show a movie in the afternoon. I want to say 1 o'clock. We decided it might be 1:30. I apologize.
Or 1:15. I'm not sure. We
somewhere
somewhere
in
right
there,
after lunch.
right
We have to
after
get
lunch.
cleaned up, and then right after that.
Right. Need time to clean up. So we have this gorgeous, I believe it's an 85-inch TV.
It is brand new, spanking new.
And so we will be watching a movie in the Great Room. We have not decided the movie as of yet, but there will be signs around the senior center announcing what movie it will be. We did find out that we are not allowed to publish or advertise the name of any movies outside of the senior center. So we want to, stick with the rules. But you can call the senior center once we decide. And like I said, there'll be tabletop flyers around and different signs to tell you what movie we chose. What Tina and I were talking about is that we might switch it back and forth. 1 month we will do a classic movie, and the next we will do a new release. So we're still working on it. Brand new. Our license just came in. So we're working on the whole idea. So just like with any new program, we might start out doing it one way, and then we change it just a little bit, due to the feedback from the seniors. If you did this, we could do that. So at the moment, we're thinking that it's going to be just fine if you sit at the same table that you had lunch at, or if people come in, and we'll have people sitting at tables, because then if you have a drink or we have some popcorn, those things are right there available to you. And then we also don't have to take down the tables and set up chairs.
Right, which
easy
only takes
peasy
longer.
setup.
Right, exactly. So yep. So we're
um,
going to start. Are we starting movies? When are we starting, in February?
Yep. I believe the first one is February 10th.
Okay, which is a Monday afternoon. And we'll be doing them monthly. And by the way, this was at the request of a couple of the several of the seniors, but I have Edek Malian in particular has been to the board meetings, and in fact at the board meeting on Monday, when they did public participation, he said, I was not at the December meeting. What's the update on the movies? And I said, well, you'll be happy to know the license came through, because you have to get a license. You can't just, in a public place, you can't just show any movie that you want to show. There are all kinds of copyright laws and so forth. So it's little bit more involved than, everything is usually more involved than you realize or than we realized. But we got the license, and thank you to the Friends group who paid for that license because it's not for free, and you get it on an annual basis. And then, as Mary Lou said, part of what you had to do was to then go, okay, what are the rules and regulations within this license? And one of them is we can't advertise in the newsletter what the movie will be because the newsletter gets, we have 6,000 copies that go all over the place.
Right.
So, but we will have tabletop flyers and we will have it on the digital sign once we select the movie. So about a week in advance, we'll start putting that out to say, hey, next Monday, we're going to show whatever it is. So stay tuned.
Yep.
Okay.
And February 27th. Mark your calendars.
There it is.
Wacky Tacky Pajama Day.
Absolutely.
At the Senior Center.
Back by popular demand.
Yep. So, Rich, I cannot wait. I haven't seen a pajama day since I have been at the Senior Center.
No, we haven't done it at the new Senior Center. We did it at the old Senior Center, and I can show you pictures that they're hysterical.
Yep.
And our Wacky Tacky Day, just as a reminder, we do it about at least once a year, sometimes twice a year.
Yep.
A Wacky Tacky Day, we take all of our leftover stuff. So all those rolled utensils that we have our 2 student volunteers rolling, we always roll more than we need, just in case. So we usually have, 3 or 4 left over of, from the watermelon day and a few left over from Valentine's Day and, a few left over from beach day, whatever it was. So at Wacky Tacky Day, we take all that stuff out. The extra blue tablecloth, red tablecloth, green tablecloth, yellow, whatever we have, we put it out there. It's all a mishmash of different cups, different plates, different tablecloths. So that's a way for us to clean the closet but not waste anything. And then we usually throw a theme to it. Last year we did Wacky Tacky Westfield Day in honor of the 350th. So everybody kind of wore something Westfield oriented. This year we are doing pajamas. Wacky Tacky Pajama Day. So you can wear your favorite slippers. You can throw a bathrobe on, a pajama top. If the kids wear the flannel pajama bottoms, to go shopping. I see them in Big Y. So,
So the date of the party is February 27th. And the tickets are $5, as always, for a party. And tickets go on sale on Tuesday, February 4th. That'll be at 9 o'clock. And you can get 4 tickets per person.
Right.
So, and the entertainment this time is Richie Mitnick and Brad Shepard.
Yep. And Richie and Brad actually did our Wacky Tacky Westfield Day. They had a wonderful time. I invited them back. I said, you would be the perfect entertainment for this. Brad Shepard is all about, can I come in my pajamas? And I said, yeah, you can come in your pajamas. That's the theme. So, okay, so that's our February party. What else do we have coming up?
So that's really good. Retire the Fire.
Yep, we have Retire the Fire Week the first week in March. We always do it before daylight savings time, before we change the clocks again. So stay tuned because there's going to be a lot more information on that on this radio show. That first Wednesday of March, I'm going to have Ben Warren, who's the fire prevention officer. Deputy Fire Chief Ben Warren is going to come on. And one of Ben's focuses this year is on electrical fires and electrical safety. We recently had a fire that involved a space heater. So danger. Yeah, they can be dangerous. They can be wonderful and they can be great. But he's going to talk about being safe with that. So lots of stuff going on that first week in March. We have a party planned for March.
Beach party.
Of course,
don't forget to, shake that bathing suit out of the mothballs. Or your beach cover-up.
Your beach cover-up. Wear flip-flops.
Oh, my favorite.
Throw a beach towel on the back of your chair in the lunchroom. So, beach days. Well, we've done that. You have done beach day.
I did.
Agnes has done beach day.
Yes, Agnes and I sat in our beach chairs greeting people.
It's always popular to do it in New England in the winter.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so that's our March one. What do we got going in April?
In April, of course, is Senior Options. But before Senior Options, there's going to be a Friends fundraiser. And this again, seniors have asked, and Jimmy Maz is going to be our entertainer.
We're pretty excited about that. That will be a Sunday afternoon concert. It'll be a fundraiser for the Friends group. And, of course, you'll see lots more information as we get closer to all of these events.
Yeah.
But just to know, we have had for years, I've had people asking me, can we get Jimmy Maskett? And he's not easy to get.
Nope.
So it took a little doing, but he is, Kathy Millis, who's the clerk and the treasurer of the Friends Group, was working the Big E with her brother-in-law, Bruce Marshall. Jimmy was there, so Kathy kind of cornered him, and and he said, have them give me a call. So so that's coming up in April.
Yeah, that's great.
The Do Re Mi's are also going to do a concert. I was just going to say,
Do Re
Mi's.
Right
at the end of the month.
Yep, end of the month, the 29th. Into May, of course, we're going to celebrate Mother's Day. We're going to do that on the 21st of May, and then in June, we're going to celebrate Father's Day on June 12th. And we are excited about this one as well. It is going to be Ray Gilmet Jr.
Yep. So Ray Gilmet is coming back.
Yep.
For a Friday night Father's Day concert. We've that's gotten to be a tradition now. That Friday Father's Day, we don't do a luncheon, we do a Friday night concert sometime during the month of June, depending on when we can get the entertainment that we're looking for.
Yeah.
So we've had Corey and the Knightsmen a couple times. We've had Sarah the Fiddler last year. And this year we have Ray Gilmet not coming back doing his Ray of Elvis concert. He's going to be doing, he does a lot of country.
He does.
So he's going to do a kind of a mixed bag. He'll throw a little Elvis in there. But he's going to be doing some country, some other stuff
Standards.
some pop genre, and just he's really, really excited about coming back. He had a great time at the Senior Center, so we're excited about that.
We are. And then, of course, we have on June 29th, we have the Senior Concert Band of Western Mass. That's also a tradition.
Yep.
So they will be here. Looking way ahead into September, we are excited about this as well. Cops for a Cause. So our police officers are going to come back, and we are going to have a chili luncheon. So they'll be serving.
And ice cream sundae, so they can be throwing whipped cream all over the Senior Center.
Yep.
And that is a fundraiser for the Alzheimer's Association. That was last year was the first time we did it. Huge success. So that will be back, and we have time for one more. So let's talk about the bottom of page 1. We have Steve Henderson coming back.
Steve Henderson, and I need to make a phone call to him so we can set up rehearsal dates. But we do have Steve was awarded a grant through the Cultural Council, and we are going to have senior theater once again at the Senior Center. And it is going to be on Friday, October 16th, and Sunday, October 18th will be the shows. So I need to contact Steve within the next couple days and set up rehearsals. So, as obviously that time gets closer, there'll obviously be something in the newsletter, and we'll be talking about that. He really enjoys it. Our seniors really enjoy it. I know that last year we had seniors after they came to the performance saying, I think I want to do that next year.
And we hope you will. And we'll get Steve back.
Exciting.
Steve has been on the radio show. We'll get Steve back on the show as well.
Fabulous.
To just, there are no auditions.
No.
If you want to participate and get up on stage, Steve will find if he doesn't have a part, he'll write you in. If you just want to be part of it but you're nervous about speaking, he'll write you in as a non-speaking thespian. So it's for all of those people who, thought, I could do that. I think I could do that, but I'm not sure. We're going to help you to get the confidence to do it. So that's just a smattering. And we have way more after that because, by the way, folks, we didn't have time to get into October, November, and December. But, October is our 5-year anniversary. That one, we're gonna save that one as a surprise. Good. We're not going to talk about what we have planned for that. But we have big doings. Mary Lou and I have already started planning that 5-year anniversary celebration. So my guest this morning has been Mary Lou Najowski. I know we went over, and I apologize to Joe Didi. It is 8:03. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. Next week, I have Eliana Lakritz on my show, a dietitian, and the topic is going to be IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, which, is prevalent out there. So she's going to talk about some dietary assistance with that. So until then, stay healthy.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of West.